chosen one. You did not stumble into this moment. You were summoned. Something in your spirit has been pulling you here, drawing you toward a truth your soul has recognized long before your mind could explain it. This is not coincidence. This is divine appointment. From the day you were formed, as written in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, heaven marked you, set you apart, and placed within you signs, sensitivities, and spiritual markers that the world could not understand. And now, anointed one, those hidden codes are rising to the surface. You have felt it your whole life. The strangeness, the separation, the weight, the unspoken knowing that you were never meant to blend in. The dreams that felt too real, the intuition that spoke louder than logic, the resistance you faced from childhood, the way darkness always seemed to notice you even before you understood why. These were never random. They were proof of a rare origin, a hidden bloodline, a calling that has followed you like a shadow of light. Chosen one, you are standing at the edge of revelation. As you listen, the veil over your identity will begin to tear. What has been buried within you is awakening. This is your moment of recognition. This is your spiritual uprising. Chosen one. Before you move any further, pause and recognize this moment for what it is. Heaven is speaking to you, not to the crowd, not to the curious, but to you. There is a reason your spirit has been restless lately, why certain things trouble you more deeply than others, why you can sense shifts long before anyone else notices them. You have been feeling the pull, the strange inner, stirring, the quiet awakening that whispers, there is more to you than what you have been told. That whisper is not imagination. It is the echo of your true identity rising. You were set apart long before the world ever named you. Somewhere deep within the ancient blueprint of who you truly are has begun to activate, and that is why what you're hearing right now feels familiar, as if your soul already knew it before the words were spoken. Chosen one. These 10 secrets are not ordinary lessons. They are keys. Not keys that open earthly doors, but the kind that unlock spiritual recognition, hidden awareness, and the divine protection that comes when you remember who you are. Every chosen one goes through a season where their identity remains hidden, even from themselves. I know because I've lived it. There were days when I felt the weight of emotions I couldn't explain, nights when I would lie awake, sensing a presence guiding me, warning me, preparing me for something bigger. At the time, I thought I was just sensitive or overthinking or different in a way that made no sense. But chosen identities rarely make sense at first. They unfold slowly like a revelation, layer by layer, until suddenly everything you endured, everything you felt, everything you sensed comes together with a clarity that makes your spirit tremble. This is that moment for you. The first thing heaven wants you to understand: chosen one is the sacred weight of secrecy. Not secrecy rooted in fear, but in wisdom. People have always sensed something in you even when you tried to hide it. Some admired it, but didn't understand it. Others felt threatened by it, without knowing why. You've probably experienced situations where you shared something vulnerable, only to feel exposed later, or moments when your truth was mocked, minimized, or twisted. That was not coincidence. It was spiritual sensitivity meeting spiritual immaturity. You were offering pearls to souls who did not yet know their value. I remember sharing a profound vision once with someone I truly trusted, thinking they would celebrate it. Instead, their face tightened and their words cut down what I thought was a beautiful gift. I walked away confused, wondering why something so sacred felt damaged afterward. In time, I realized the truth revelation is holy. It is not meant for every ear. It is given to guide your path, not to validate your worth. Chosen. One, secrecy is not about hiding who you are. It is about protecting who you are becoming. You are carrying insights that were not meant to be handled recklessly. There are revelations that belong only between you and the divine until you have grown enough to speak them with authority. When your spirit reveals something to you, it is not for public judgment. It is for your growth, your preparation, your awareness. And until your inner foundation is strong, sharing the wrong truth with the wrong person can shake you more than you realize. You may feel tempted to explain yourself to prove your spirituality, to give clarity to people who question your path. But chosen one, hear me clearly, you do not owe clarity to anyone. Your journey is between you and the one who called you. This is why the first secret is to protect your spiritual insights. You have been given dreams, warnings, intuition, and inner knowledge that others may never understand. The more spiritually awake you become, the more sensitive you will be to energies, to motives, to the unseen. You may notice how you can enter a room and immediately feel the atmosphere shift, or how certain people drain you even when they haven't spoken. This is not weakness, it is discernment. And discernment becomes dangerous when it is handed to those who don't honor it. Your insights are not casual, they are weapons, shields, and prophetic markers placed within you. Treat them accordingly. Chosen one. Every prophet, every anointed vessel in scripture and in history learned this truth. Early revelation must be guarded. There will come a day when your wisdom will be shared openly, when your voice will be needed, and when your authority will be recognized. But before that day arrives, heaven trains you in silence. Insight becomes power only when you learn when to speak and when to remain hidden. As you continue this journey through the 10 sacred secrets, remember this foundational truth. Protection begins with honoring what heaven placed inside you. And the first step toward that honor is knowing that not everything revealed to you is meant to be revealed through you. The deeper we go, chosen one, the more you will understand why your spirit has always felt set apart. Chosen one. As you step deeper into this revelation, feel how your spirit is responding. This is not ordinary understanding. This is remembrance. You are remembering who you have always been beneath the layers of doubt, confusion, and the expectations others placed on you. The second sacred secret for the chosen ones is one many struggle with, yet it is essential for your protection and spiritual longevity. You must learn to guard your vulnerabilities with holy wisdom. Your heart, your wounds, your fears, your unprocessed pain. These are not weaknesses. They are sacred openings, portals where heaven meets you with healing and where darkness tries hardest to enter. This is why you have felt so exposed in the past. This is why certain people seemed drawn to your broken places instead of your strengths. And this is why you must learn the divine art of choosing who gets access to your inner world. Chosen one. You have probably noticed throughout your life that you feel deeply, you love deeply, you hurt deeply, you sense deeply. You do not break like others, but when you do feel pain, it goes to the core of your being. That is because your heart was crafted with spiritual sensitivity, and sensitivity without discernment becomes a trap. I have walked through seasons where I trusted too easily, where I opened my soul to those who had no intention of honoring what I revealed. The result was not just emotional pain, it was spiritual depletion. I would walk away feeling drained, confused, and disconnected from myself. At the time, I thought something was wrong with me. I didn't realize the truth. What I was offering was holy, and I was offering it to those who had no spiritual maturity to handle it. Chosen one. Not everyone deserves access to your wounds. Not everyone should hear the stories that shaped you, the fears you battle, the memories you carry, or the moments that brought you to your knees. When someone unworthy hears your vulnerability, something in your spirit senses the danger. You may feel heavy afterward, or suddenly anxious, or strangely exposed. That is your spirit telling you this was not safe ground. In the same way that heaven protects you through intuition, the enemy seeks to exploit the openings you leave unguarded. There are people who appear gentle but carry envy beneath their smile. People who act supportive but are secretly energized by your struggle. People who love your light but quietly feed on your pain. Chosen one. This is not paranoia, it is spiritual reality. When you carry a divine calling, your vulnerabilities become targets. That is why secrecy, discernment, and spiritual boundaries are not optional for the chosen ones. They are armor, they are defense, they are wisdom. When Jesus faced his hardest moment, he brought only a few disciples with him. Even he understood that not every follower could be trusted with his sorrow. And if the Anointed One himself modeled selective vulnerability, how much more must you, a chosen vessel, practice it? You must learn to observe who drains you, who comforts you, who listens, who dismisses, who strengthens your spirit, and who weakens it. Your emotions reveal more about people than their words ever will. When you leave someone's presence feeling heavy, the spirit is revealing truth. When you walk away, feeling uplifted, seen, and strengthened, that is also revelation. Trust these inner signals. They are divine communication. Chosen. One, understand this vulnerability is not a flaw. It is a mark of your calling. Only those with great spiritual assignments feel deeply enough to carry such wounds. But wounds must be handled with wisdom. Not every tear is meant to be witnessed. Not every fear is meant to be shared. You must learn who has the spiritual maturity to hold your truth without distorting it. I learned this the hard way. I shared a deep pain with someone I thought was safe, only to watch them use it as a weapon during an argument months later. In that moment, I realized something life-altering. People reveal their true heart when your vulnerability becomes inconvenient to them. That was when I decided my heart was holy ground, and holy ground must be protected. This second secret is not about isolation. It is about intentionality. You are meant to connect. You are meant to love. You are meant to build relationships. But every sacred temple has inner chambers. Only the worthy can enter. Your soul is no different. When you share your vulnerability with someone who is aligned with you, healing flows effortlessly. When you share it with the wrong person, spiritual leakage begins. The difference is not in you. It is in who you allow close enough to touch your spirit. Chosen one, let this truth settle deeply within you. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not overly sensitive. You are spiritually wired. And spiritual wiring requires spiritual protection. As you walk further into these 10 secrets, remember this guiding wisdom. Choose your listeners as carefully as you choose your prayers. The next revelation will show you why certain people have always gravitated toward your light, and why your energy must be guarded like a sacred flame. Chosen one. Now that you have begun to see the sacred importance of guarding your heart and your revelations, you must understand another truth that has followed you since childhood. You have always carried an energy that others can feel long before you speak a word. Some people were drawn to you instantly without knowing why, while others reacted to you with discomfort or silent resentment. Even as a child, you may have noticed that adults confided in you unexpectedly, or that strangers felt unusually comfortable sharing their burdens with you. You didn't ask for this. You didn't try to attract attention. Your energy did it on its own. And that is because Anointed One, your energy carries divine imprint. It radiates identity, purpose, and the hidden mark of someone set apart. This third sacred secret is one you may have never fully understood. Your energy is a sacred flame, not symbolic, not poetic, but spiritual reality. When heaven breathed purpose into your being, your spirit was ignited with a light that cannot be extinguished. That light makes you sensitive to atmospheres, emotions, and spiritual currents that others overlook. But it also makes you a target for those who crave light yet refuse to cultivate their own. This is why you must learn to guard your energy with the same reverence that priests guarded the holy fire in ancient times. Chosen One, reflect for a moment. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately sensed tension before anyone spoke, or felt a heaviness around a person who smiled at you, or left certain conversations exhausted, even though nothing dramatic happened? These are not coincidences. You are experiencing spiritual exchange. Your energy is interacting with their energy, and because yours carries light, clarity, and authority, it naturally disrupts what is hidden in others. Light always exposes, reveals, and awakens, and not everyone likes being exposed. I remember seasons in my own life where I could not understand why some people were drawn to me only when they needed something yet disappeared when I was at peace or when I set a boundary. At the time, I thought I was simply being used. But the deeper truth was spiritual. They were feeding on my light, my presence, my emotional strength, even my silence. They needed what I carried because their own spirits were empty, chaotic, or ungrounded. And the moment they felt stabilized, they vanished only to return again when their life fell apart. It was a cycle of spiritual extraction, not friendship. Once I learned to guard my energy, those cycles broke instantly. Chosen One. Guarding your energy does not mean shutting everyone out. It means recognizing who comes to recharge their soul in your presence and who comes to drain it. It means acknowledging that your compassion is sacred, your listening ear is sacred, your peace is sacred, and your presence is not a public resource. You were not created to be the emotional landfill for those who refuse to heal. You were created to radiate divine identity and fulfill your calling with strength, clarity, and spiritual authority. Ask yourself honestly, who do you feel tired around? Who needs you even when they give nothing in return? Whose chaos becomes your responsibility the moment you answer the phone? These patterns are not emotional, they are spiritual. People sense your stability, your intuition, your groundedness, and your discernment. They subconsciously reach for the flame you carry because it comforts them. But without boundaries, your spirit becomes depleted. There is a reason Scripture describes the wise as people who guard their hearts and watch over their spirit. When light is valuable, darkness notices. When energy is pure, impurity reaches for it. When presence is soothing, broken spirits gravitate toward it. But you must discern between those who are truly seeking growth and those who simply want to bask in your glow without ever standing in their own. Chosen One. Let me speak directly to the experiences you may have buried. Think back to the friendships where you felt like the emotional backbone. Think of the relationships where you gave more than you received. Think of the work environments where others relied on you to hold the atmosphere together. Your spirit has been doing spiritual work long before you had the language for it. This is why you often feel like you don't fit in, why you sometimes feel older than your age, why you can read the room instantly, why silence feels restorative, and why solitude feels holy. You are spiritually built, not emotionally fragile. The gift of your energy is powerful, but without boundaries, even the strongest flame can weaken. Guarding your energy looks like listening to your intuition the first time. It looks like stepping back when your spirit feels uneasy. It looks like saying no without guilt. It looks like retreating when your peace is threatened. It looks like recognizing that isolation is sometimes divine preservation. It looks like knowing you are not made to pour endlessly into people who intentionally remain empty. Chosen one. The light within you is not casual. It is ancient. It is purposeful. It is chosen. And everything that carries divine light must be protected with divine wisdom. Chosen one. Now step deeper, because this next truth is one your spirit has felt since you were young, even if you never had the language for it. There is something about your presence itself that sets you apart. Not your words, not your actions, not your accomplishments, but your presence. The space you occupy, the atmosphere you shift, the silence you carry. It is one of the most misunderstood aspects of your calling, and yet one of the most important. Your presence is sacred. It is not simply energy. It is spiritual weight, divine imprint, the invisible authority that goes before you, even when you say nothing at all. From childhood, you probably noticed the reactions of others before you understood why they reacted that way. Perhaps teachers treated you differently, either with unusual protection or unusual strictness. Perhaps other children were either magnetically drawn to you or instantly uncomfortable around you. Perhaps family members said things like, "You act older than your age," or "You're so quiet, but everyone listens when you speak." These were early signs that your presence carries something most people do not understand. You were walking with a spiritual signature you did not yet recognize. Chosen one. Your presence exposes convicts' comforts or awakens people depending on what they carry. To the broken, your presence feels healing. To the insecure, it feels intimidating. To the spiritually open, it feels familiar. To the spiritually resistant, it feels threatening. This is why you have experienced confusion in relationships. Why people you barely knew opened up their deepest secrets to you. Why people with hidden motives acted strangely around you. Why some loved you without reason and others disliked you without cause. They weren't reacting to your personality. They were reacting to your presence. I remember walking into certain rooms and feeling the air shift instantly. People grew quieter, stood straighter, or suddenly looked uncomfortable. At the time, I thought something was wrong with me. But what I didn't realize was that spiritual presence carries an authority that unsettles anything that is false, deceptive, or spiritually chaotic. Your presence does not need permission to reveal truth. It does it automatically. Chosen one. You must understand that your presence is powerful, not because of who you are in the natural, but because of what has been placed upon you in the spirit. When heaven chooses someone, their steps carry weight, their aura carries clarity, and their silence carries revelation. When you walk into a room, spiritual things shift, even if people pretend not to notice. That is why certain individuals avoided eye contact with you, why some couldn't hide their discomfort, why others clung to you with admiration. You weren't reading too much into it. You were discerning spiritual reactions to spiritual presence, and because your presence is sacred, it must be protected. You cannot place yourself in every environment. You cannot entertain every invitation. You cannot stay connected to people whose spirits resist or resent your calling. Your presence is a spiritual tool, and tools must be handled with care. Think of sacred objects in Scripture. They were powerful, but only when handled with reverence. When handled casually, they became dangerous to those who treated them lightly. Your presence works the same way. It brings blessing to those aligned with you and discomfort to those who are not. You've likely already noticed how draining it is to be in environments filled with jealousy, gossip, manipulation, or spiritual darkness. That heaviness you feel is not emotional sensitivity, it is spiritual intelligence. Your presence is meant to elevate the atmosphere, but some atmospheres are so contaminated that they begin pulling from your spirit instead of aligning with it. This is why you cannot stay in certain rooms for long, why certain conversations feel suffocating, why certain workplaces or friend groups quietly suffocated your growth. Your presence was too rare, too pure, too spiritually expensive to remain there. Chosen one, do not confuse loneliness with preservation. When heaven separates you, it is not because you are unwanted. It is because your presence is being shielded from contamination. When heaven isolates you, it is not punishment. It is training. It is refinement. It is preparation for higher assignments that require greater purity and deeper sensitivity. The solitude you feel is not emptiness. It is spiritual elevation. Even Jesus would withdraw to solitary places, not because he was weak, but because his presence carried too much weight to remain constantly exposed. If he required quiet separation and selective intimacy, then so do you. Your presence must be handled intentionally. You cannot give equal access to everyone. You cannot allow your sacredness to be diluted by environments that refuse to honor it. And yet, this truth carries another layer, one that you may have sensed without fully understanding it. Your presence reveals others more than it reveals you. Pay attention to how people act around you, what they say in your silence, how they shift when you enter the room. Their reactions are spiritual diagnostics. They reveal who is aligned with your calling and who is threatened by it. You do not need to guess people's intentions. Their spirit responds to your presence before their words ever do. Chosen. One, you are not called to shrink your presence to make others comfortable. You are called to guard it, honor it, and allow it to shine with the full radiance heaven placed within you. Chosen one. Now that you understand the holiness of your presence, you must learn another spiritual discipline that few ever master. It is a secret that separates those who walk in divine authority from those who move only in emotion. This secret is silence, not the silence of fear, not the silence of avoidance, but the sacred strategic silence that heaven teaches only to those with destiny etched into their spirit. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. Silence is protection. Silence is spiritual warfare, carried out without a single word spoken. Throughout your life, chosen one, you may have noticed that your silence makes people uncomfortable. When others expect you to react, you remain calm. When drama rises around you, you do not engage. When someone tries to provoke you, something in you withdraws instead of exploding, and people interpret that silence differently. Some assume you are weak. Some assume you are passive. Others think you are hiding something. But the truth they cannot see is this: your silence is obedience to divine instruction. You are not silent because you have no response. You are silent because you understand the cost of speaking prematurely. Chosen one, you carry revelation that others cannot hold. You carry discernment that others cannot interpret. You carry spiritual perception that others would misuse if they knew its depth. And so heaven trains you in the art of silence. He teaches you when to speak and when to be still. He teaches you how to observe without absorbing, how to listen without revealing, how to sense without explaining. Silence is a spiritual filter. It separates the loud from the wise, the impulsive from the grounded, and the chaotic from the anointed. I remember a season where I tried explaining myself to people who were never meant to understand me. Every conversation left me drained, misunderstood, and frustrated. No matter how carefully I chose my words, they twisted them. No matter how honest I was, they questioned my motives. And one day, I felt a quiet whisper in my spirit, telling me, "Stop speaking where you are not respected." That moment changed everything. I learned that silence is clarity. When you stop explaining, people reveal themselves. Those who truly honor you will understand your heart without needing every detail. Those who do not honor you will create their own narrative, no matter how much you try to explain. Chosen one. Silence is not withdrawal. It is elevation. It is the decision to rise above battles that do not deserve your attention. When you respond to everything, your energy becomes scattered. When you respond only to what heaven assigns, your energy becomes powerful. Silence allows you to choose your battles carefully, and the battles you choose determine the victories you experience. There is a spiritual principle at work here. Darkness feeds on reaction. The enemy cannot build strongholds in your life without your agreement. And your agreement often comes through words spoken in anger, frustration, fear, or defensiveness. But when you choose silence in moments of provocation, you rob the enemy of power. You refuse to plant seeds of chaos. You deny the spiritual forces watching you any access point. Silence is a shield you wield with intentionality. Chosen one, think of the moments in your past where silence protected you, when you walked away instead of fighting back, when you kept information to yourself instead of exposing it, when you chose quiet prayer over loud confrontation. Those moments were not weakness, they were spiritual discipline. You may not have realized it then, but heaven was guiding your restraint. He was teaching you that real strength is not proven by how loudly you speak, but by how confidently you can remain silent until the appointed time. And this goes deeper. Silence guards your destiny. You cannot announce every idea, every dream, every revelation to those around you. Not everyone is spiritually mature enough to steward your vision. Some people pray for your downfall while pretending to clap for your progress. Some smile at your face while secretly hoping you never rise. When you move in silence, you starve their access. You deny them the opportunity to interfere with what heaven is building within you. Chosen one, understand this deeply. Your silence is not passive. It is active transformation. It is your spirit aligning with divine timing. It is your soul choosing peace over chaos. It is your mind choosing wisdom over impulse. When you choose silence, you make space for heaven to speak. You give room for clarity to grow. You allow truth to settle. Most importantly, you give the divine realm permission to fight on your behalf. Even in Scripture, the greatest breakthroughs came after silence. Walls fell after silence. Revelation came after silence. Strength returned after silence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is incubation. And what heaven is cultivating in your silence will one day emerge with undeniable power. So do not fear the seasons where you have no words. Do not feel guilty when you withdraw to protect your peace. Do not apologize for choosing silence over conflict. You are not retreating. You are positioning. You are guarding the next level of your life. You are honoring the sacredness of your calling. Chosen one. You do not need to speak to be powerful. You do not need to defend yourself to be protected. You do not need to respond to be victorious. Your silence is proof that heaven is working on your behalf in ways that words could never accomplish. Chosen one. Now that you have begun to understand the sacred strength of silence, you must learn the companion discipline that walks beside it, discretion. Silence guards your reactions, but discretion guards your direction. Silence protects your energy, but discretion protects your destiny. And while silence keeps you from wasting your spirit on the wrong battles, discretion keeps you from revealing your spirit to the wrong people. This is not secrecy born from fear. This is spiritual maturity born from wisdom. Chosen one. Throughout your life, you have likely shared things too early, dreams that were still forming ideas, that were still fragile revelations, that were still growing roots in your spirit. And after sharing them, you felt drained, exposed, or strangely disconnected from what once felt sacred. That heaviness wasn't coincidence. When you reveal divine things prematurely, you weaken them. Revelation is like a newborn seed, vibrant, powerful, full of potential but undeveloped. If planted in the wrong soil or exposed to harsh conditions too early, it can be damaged, uprooted, or destroyed. I remember seasons when I told the wrong people about my spiritual breakthroughs. I shared too much too soon. Their reaction was not celebration. It was doubt, criticism, or quiet envy. They didn't attack with words, but their disbelief became a spiritual weight. What once felt holy became heavy. What once felt clear became confusing. This is the invisible danger many chosen ones encounter: revelation contamination. Not because the revelation was wrong, but because the environment was wrong. Your spirit felt it. That's why your enthusiasm faded so quickly. Not all ears were meant to hear what heaven whispered to you. Chosen. One, discretion is not about hiding. It is about honoring. Honoring your calling, honoring your growth, honoring the divine timing over your life. You are walking a path that others cannot see. You are carrying an identity that others cannot comprehend. You are receiving guidance that others cannot interpret. If you try to explain spiritual instructions to those who live in natural understanding, they will misunderstand you every time. This is why heaven is teaching you to move in silence, not only in speech, but in strategy. Not every plan needs to be announced. Not every blessing needs to be posted. Not every spiritual elevation needs to be shared. You are not being rude when you keep things to yourself. You are being wise. You are refusing to let unqualified hands touch what heaven is building. And this goes deeper, chosen one. Discretion protects you from spiritual interference. The enemy cannot attack what he cannot see. Jealous hearts cannot sabotage what they do not know. Doubting voices cannot weaken what they cannot speak against. When you keep your movements hidden until they are fully grown, you diminish every unseen force assigned to hinder you. Think back to the moments when your spirit warned you not to share something, but you ignored the feeling. Maybe you told someone about a job opportunity, a new relationship, a spiritual awakening, or a personal breakthrough. After sharing, something changed. The energy shifted, the progress slowed, the clarity faded. That was not accidental. That was spiritual leakage. And heaven allowed you to feel it, so you could learn revelation must be protected, not displayed. Chosen one. Your destiny is too delicate to be exposed prematurely. You are not like everyone else. Others can move loudly, recklessly, publicly, but you cannot. Their path is natural. Yours is spiritual. Their growth depends on effort. Yours depends on alignment. Their success comes from visibility. Yours comes from obedience. They can announce everything. You cannot. Heaven holds you to a different standard because heaven has placed a different calling on your life. And there is another reason discretion is essential. Relationships. Not every person you meet is meant to walk with you. Some come as distractions, some as lessons, some as mirrors, and some as tests. When you lack discretion, you allow the wrong people too close. You let them learn your rhythms, your weaknesses, your dreams, your wounds. And once they know these things, they gain access points, openings they can exploit knowingly or unknowingly. Chosen one. One of the most painful experiences for those with divine identity is betrayal by people we trusted. But betrayal rarely comes from enemies. It comes from those we invited into sacred spaces. Discretion protects those spaces. It ensures that only those who are spiritually aligned, emotionally mature, and divinely sent can enter. This also applies to your assignments. When heaven gives you instructions, move here, leave there, build this release that not everyone deserves to know why. Not everyone deserves a seat at that table. Not everyone should be invited into your process. During years of my own spiritual transformation, I learned that some people wanted access to my progress without participating in my struggle. They wanted the outcome, not the journey. They wanted proximity, not alignment. And heaven taught me that protecting my destiny meant protecting my space. Chosen one, never feel obligated to explain what God is doing in your life. Revelation is not up for public discussion. Divine strategy is not a community project. What heaven is unfolding within you is sacred. When the time comes, the evidence will speak for itself. But until then, remain discreet. Move quietly. Grow privately. Strengthen silently. Let your transformation occur behind the veil until heaven lifts it. Discretion is protection. It is wisdom. It is alignment. And when you embrace it fully, you will discover that your spirit becomes lighter, your path becomes clearer, and your peace becomes unshakable. Chosen one. Now that you understand the power of discretion, you must face one of the greatest spiritual disciplines required of those who carry a divine calling: the mastery of your emotions. This is not an easy undertaking. It requires inner strength, self-awareness, and a level of spiritual maturity that most people never reach. But you, anointed one, are not like most people. You have been set apart. And because of that, your emotional world carries a weight, a sensitivity, and a spiritual influence far greater than you may realize. Emotions are part of your humanity. They are the language of the soul. But unmastered emotions become open doors where confusion enters, where impulsive decisions are made, where the enemy finds footholds, and where your spiritual clarity becomes clouded. As a chosen one, you cannot afford to be ruled by emotional storms. You feel deeply, yes, but you must not let those deep feelings govern your actions or dictate your identity. There have been moments in your life when your emotions rose suddenly: anger that burned too hot, sadness that felt too heavy, fear that came out of nowhere, anxiety that made no sense. And you wondered, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel things so intensely? But chosen one, nothing is wrong with you. You feel deeply because you carry spiritual antennas that pick up more than the average person. You are sensing not only your own emotions, but sometimes the emotions of those around you, the atmosphere of a room, or even spiritual currents moving in the unseen realm. Your heart reacts quickly because it was shaped by heaven to notice shifts others overlook. However, this sensitivity becomes dangerous when you lack mastery. Emotional reactions can lead you into battles that were never assigned to you, can drain your energy before you even recognize what happened, and can push you away from divine alignment. I remember seasons where I allowed frustration or disappointment to guide my decisions. I reacted from pain instead of clarity. I spoke from hurt instead of wisdom. I moved too quickly or withdrew too abruptly. And each time I felt spiritually off-center afterward. That's when I learned something. Life-changing emotional impulsiveness is spiritual sabotage. Chosen one. Your emotions are valid, but they must be disciplined, not suppressed. Disciplined. Suppression creates wounds. Discipline creates strength. Suppression silences your heart. Discipline trains it. When you master your emotions, you become spiritually unshakable. You move with purpose, not panic. You respond with wisdom, not impulse. You stand firm even when the world around you trembles. To master your emotions, you must first understand their origins. Every intense emotion you feel has a root. Anger often comes from feeling unheard or disrespected. Sadness often comes from disappointment or attachment. Fear often comes from uncertainty or past trauma. Anxiety often comes from spiritual sensitivity left unchecked. When you trace your emotions back to their roots, you take control. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. The next step is regulation. When emotions rise, you must create spiritual space before reacting. This may look like pausing, breathing deeply, withdrawing for a moment, or simply closing your eyes and letting your spirit settle. In that pause, heaven speaks. Clarity comes. Perspective returns. I cannot count the number of times a moment of inner stillness saved me from unnecessary conflict or regret. Regulation is not weakness. It is your spirit choosing wisdom over war. After regulation comes transformation. This is where mastery truly unfolds. Every emotion, when channeled correctly, can become spiritual fuel. Righteous anger can drive you to break generational cycles. Grief can deepen your compassion. Anxiety can sharpen your discernment. Passion can ignite your purpose. Even loneliness can draw you closer to divine presence. When you allow your emotions to be transformed instead of suppressed, they become tools, not traps. Chosen one, pay attention to how your emotions shift around certain people. Your emotional reactions often reveal spiritual truths before your mind understands them. If someone consistently brings out your frustration, heaviness, insecurity, or anxiety, it is a sign of spiritual misalignment. Your spirit knows what your mind has not yet processed. On the other hand, if someone brings out peace, confidence, clarity, and ease, your spirit recognizes alignment. Emotional patterns are prophetic indicators. They are not random, they are signals. Mastering your emotions also means refusing to let others control them. People who sense your light sometimes try to trigger you to dim it. They provoke you to get a reaction. They push your boundaries to test your strength. They manipulate conversations to gain emotional leverage. But when you stand firm in emotional mastery, their attempts fall flat. You become untouchable, not because you are cold, but because you are grounded. Chosen. 1. Emotional mastery is part of your spiritual armor. Without it, your other gifts become vulnerable. Without it, your discernment becomes blurred. Without it, your energy becomes scattered. But with it, you move like a warrior wrapped in peace. You walk through storms without losing your center. You make decisions that align with destiny instead of reacting to temporary feelings. You gain spiritual endurance. The world may tell you to follow your heart, but heaven tells the chosen ones to lead their heart, to train it, to anchor it, to guard it. Because when your emotions come under spiritual discipline, you become a vessel that darkness cannot manipulate. Chosen one, you are not being asked to suppress who you are. You are being asked to grow into who you were designed to become, a divine instrument whose emotions serve the mission, not sabotage it. Chosen one. Now that you have begun to understand the power of emotional mastery, you must embrace another truth that is essential to your spiritual walk: the necessity of balance. Balance is not simply a lifestyle choice for you, it is a spiritual requirement. It is the stabilizing force that keeps the chosen ones grounded, clear, and aligned with their divine assignments. Without balance, even the strongest calling becomes vulnerable. Without balance, even the purest spirit can be overwhelmed. Without balance, the very gifts that make you powerful can become the very things that exhaust you. Chosen one. You walk in two realms at once, the seen and the unseen. You carry responsibilities in both the natural world and the spiritual one. You feel the weight of earthly tasks, relationships, expectations, and pressures. Yet at the same time you sense spiritual currents, unseen battles, divine timing, and heavenly whispers. This dual existence requires balance, so you do not become consumed by one side while neglecting the other. When you live too deeply in the spiritual, you may forget to care for your physical body, your emotional health, or your earthly responsibilities. When you live only in the natural, you lose touch with your intuition, your discernment, and your prophetic awareness. Balance is the bridge between your humanity and your divinity. There have been times in your life when you leaned too heavily toward one side. Perhaps you were spiritually awakened but emotionally drained, seeking revelation without grounding. Or maybe you were physically functional but spiritually numb, doing everything right, yet feeling disconnected from your purpose. These imbalances created inner conflict. They made you question your identity, question your path, even question your worth. But chosen one, nothing was wrong with you. You were simply being called back into alignment. Balance begins with honoring your spiritual life. As a chosen one, you cannot neglect your connection to the divine. Without it, your discernment dulls, your intuition becomes cloudy, and your direction becomes uncertain. You begin to operate from fear or habit rather than divine guidance. Even Jesus withdrew often to reconnect with the Father, not because he was weak, but because his assignment required constant alignment. And if the Anointed One required spiritual renewal, then so do you. But balance also means caring for your physical and emotional self. Your body is the vessel that carries your calling. Your mind is the instrument that interprets divine messages. Your emotions are the indicators that reveal alignment or misalignment. When you neglect these, even your spiritual gifts become strained. Balance means giving your body rest. It means feeding your mind with truth instead of chaos. It means allowing your heart to heal instead of forcing yourself to push forward while spiritually wounded. Chosen one, think of the moments when your exhaustion distorted your clarity, when lack of rest made you question things that were never meant to be questioned. When emotional depletion made you feel disconnected from your purpose. When burnout made you lose passion for the very things you were created to do. That was imbalance, not failure. You were not weak, you were depleted. And depletion is dangerous for those with divine assignments. You must also learn to balance your relationships. As a chosen one, you attract many people, seekers, wounded souls, dreamers, emotional dependents, jealous spirits, and genuine allies. But not all of them deserve equal access to your time, energy, or spiritual space. Balance means knowing who to pour into and who to step back from. It means understanding that helping others cannot come at the cost of your own peace. It means learning that you are not responsible for everyone's healing. You are a vessel, not a savior. Balance also requires you to shift between solitude and connection. Solitude is where you hear God. Connection is where you walk out your calling. Too much solitude and you risk isolation. Too much connection and you risk dilution. You need both. Your spirit needs quiet to receive clarity. Your purpose needs people to express itself. When you feel yourself withdrawing too much, ask why. When you find yourself giving too much pause, balance is found in awareness. One of the greatest truths about balance is this: it protects your destiny. When you are balanced, you make decisions from a place of strength rather than urgency. You hear God's voice clearly. You recognize spiritual attacks more quickly. You navigate challenges with wisdom rather than emotion. You remain grounded even when everything around you shifts. Balanced, chosen ones are unstoppable. They are calm in chaos, clear in confusion, steady in storms, and rooted in truth when others are swayed by fear. And here is a truth your spirit has always known: balance is not achieved in a single moment. It is practiced daily. It is a rhythm, a flow, a sacred discipline. Some days you will feel spiritually heavy and need physical grounding. Other days you will feel emotionally stretched and need spiritual recalibration. That is the life of a chosen one, not constant perfection, but constant awareness. Chosen one balance is the quiet power that carries your calling. When you honor it, you rise with strength, clarity, and spiritual authority. When you neglect it, everything becomes heavier than it was meant to be. You were not designed to live in extremes. You were designed to carry light with power and grace. Chosen one, your spirit knows this truth is yours. Heaven is unveiling who you are, guiding you to walk with clarity, protection, and divine authority. Go forward in confidence. Stay aligned, stay awakened, and stay faithful to your calling. If this spoke to you, share your reflection below and remain connected for what heaven reveals next.